because he said, the American people deserve to know the facts about this breach of trust. The Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, the IRS and Treasury, must explain to the American people what happened and what is being done to make sure that it's never done again with their private information. He said at a later date, it's up to us, members of the Chief Tax Rating Committee, that's us, in Congress, to protect the public trust and to secure private taxpayer administration. Finally, on September 17th of 2024, in a floor debate, he said, when Americans file their tax returns, they expect their personal data and tax information are confidential. So they agree with us. At least Chairman Smith agrees with us. Let's hope that he continues to exercise the same consistency and support us in our efforts to stop the abuse of this power with our private information, with your private information, and to make sure that the people's privacy is protected. With that, I want to bring up my good friend and very talented member of Congress, Jimmy Gomez from California.
Thank you, Tom. First, I'm a dad, first and foremost. I come from a working class background. And during this time, the most important thing for working families is the cost of living. When people are struggling with skyrocketing rents, with increases in grocery prices, when child care is out of control when it comes to its cost, what are Donald Trump and the Republicans doing? They gave Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire, and his 22-year-old tech bros access to Americans' most sensitive and personal information. Think about this. They have access not only to your Social Security information, records, but they have access to your bank account information, routing numbers. If you paid your taxes using electronic filing, you paid taxes or got paid a refund, that they have complete control over your accounts. That means that they can go in whenever they want and swipe it, right? We've heard that from Americans before when the IRS comes in and takes that money. Now you give that control to Elon Musk. That's what people should be afraid of. And they also have control over this powerful payment system. So one of the things that we want to know is, what are they doing with it? They literally pretty much they can decide if they don't like you on political affiliation to take your money. If you're a nonprofit or an organization and you have a DEI program and they gave you a grant, you know what? You already spent that grant. Too bad. We're going to take whatever you have in your account as a refund to the government. They can do that so that and hurt hardworking Americans. This is one of the most extreme issues I've ever seen. They mentioned this 6103F provision, $5,000 fine or 5 years in prison. That's for one return, but all the returns. That is what we're talking about. That we have to put this in perspective for the American people. Like, this is one of the most serious breaches of personal information, of tax information in the history of this country. And we need to know why Trump and Secretary Bessent gave Elon Musk, who has profited from federal government contracts and who should be nowhere near this information, access to the equivalent of domestic nuclear codes. If Secretary Bessent refuses to answer our questions, he needs to come before the committee to explain himself. At the same time, if we're saying this is as egregious of an act, maybe Bessent is not the one in there looking at the tax information. But if you open the door for that breach and you open the door for criminals to get involved, does that rise to the level of an impeachable offense for Secretary Bessent? This is real serious. And we're not going to stop until we find out what, who, and when they got access to this information. And because this rises to that level. I know Chairman Smith claims he believes in prosecuting people to the fullest extent of the law. Well, it has to be applied to both parties, to Republicans and Democrats. You violate this law, you need to be held accountable. If you're unelected billionaire or an appointed billionaire, doesn't matter. We need to make sure that the American people have full confidence that their information is protected and it will not be abused and they will not have their money stolen from them. With that, I'm going to introduce Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here and to listening to, I believe, one of the most well thought out arguments as to why we should all as Americans be concerned. I want to thank Ranking Member Neal for gathering this committee. We all know that the Ways and Means Committee has the authority for revenue, for tax writing, for trade. We have been very intentional and very measured before responding to a lot of these issues. You have heard from my colleagues about the range of issues that we are seeing. I know people are calling this chaos. This may be chaos to us, but it's not chaos to them. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly why they're doing. I'm concerned why Elon Musk, a special government employee, whatever the hell that means, that's a new term that's come up, who has nothing, was never elected to anything, is an outside billionaire consultant, and Doge, a fake department, have access to the most sensitive federal payment systems and confidential tax information of millions of Americans. Now, they have access to much more extensive than they can disclose to the public. We're learning that day by day by reporters like you all who are finding this information out and sharing it with the American public as to how much they are doing. Whether they are not only just reading this information, they're putting it in AI models, we are finding out. They want to understand where the money is flowing. Why do they want to understand where the money is flowing? A lot of individuals up here have brought up that Elon Musk is a billionaire. We do not hate all billionaires, but let's be clear. Much of Elon Musk's resources and his wealth is based on government contracts. $15 billion that we know of is from one company that he owns in government contracts. That is not a conflict of interest. Our new president, President Trump, has said that Elon Musk is going to self-report if he has a conflict of interest. What kind of nonsense is that? And it's no mistake and no chaotic, discombobulated kind of happenstance that one of the first things that our president did was fire the inspectors general. We've almost forgotten about that and all of the other things that have happened. But the watchers are gone. The watchers are not there to be able to do the kind of independent oversight that Congress gave them authorization to. I loved how my colleague, Congressman Swazi, talked about the quotes from the chairman of this committee about leaks. The concern, the fact that having these leaks is actually a felony. Individuals having unauthorized access to information, your taxpayers' information, is a felony. The concern that the chairman expressed previously was for President Trump, for individuals that they're friends with. They are not concerned with the millions of Americans' taxpayers' information. That should be clear to the American public, that most of the Republicans are not concerned with you. They are not concerned with your everyday cost of living, as Congressman Horsford explained to you. They're not concerned about the cost of eggs that was talked about ad nauseum during the campaign, gas, or other goods that you have, and what's that going to mean to your everyday life. We are concerned with hardworking American people, the information,
They don't
your
care.
banking, your social security,
Republicans
the
don't
most
care
intimate details of your personal life. That's what Congress
because
should be
they're not even
concerned with at
saying
this time.
anything.
And
Republicans
as
are not saying
Congressman
anything.
Doggett and others explained, Congresswoman Sewell, who
And that
heads up
is so
Oversight,
strange for them
we are
not to
going
say
use
anything.
whatever
If
power we
you
have
are so
in the
concerned
minority,
about the American
in the
people,
opposition
regardless Republican,
to the
Democrat,
opposition of
you should
taking
say
away
something. You should be
Americans'
speaking
rights
up. If
and
you
their
don't
liberties, as
believe
our
in
chairman
any of
said.
this, you
We
should
want
be
to open
speaking
it
up.
to some questions. If you
So
all have
ridiculous.
questions, we're happy to respond to them.
So ridiculous.
Yes.
Do you feel like leaders who, and Speaker Johnson, are abdicating their congressional authority?
Just
by
like
allowing
Jasmine
the
Crockett
president
said
to
that
overstep congressional
some of those Republicans, they don't agree with it, but they are so afraid to say anything.
I know that
They
people
are
have
so
talked about
afraid
a
to say
constitutional
anything.
crisis, and the crisis is
And
when
it's
the
so
Constitution is
ridiculous.
not followed.
It's so ridiculous.
We are
They
the
all
first
should be
branch, the
ashamed of
first article
themselves.
of government, and one of those things within that Constitution is that we have the power of federal funding to appropriate and decide where that funding is going. The president has tried to remove Congress's authority to do that by freezing funds, by taking them over, by allowing DOJ to freeze funds, to claw back to discussing of dismantling agencies that Congress has put in place. So if that you think is a constitutional crisis, then yes, we are in one.
What do you think specifically about the whole, say, leaders?
Well, I can't say what is going on in their mind, but I know that they can see exactly what we all see. And if they're not doing anything about it, then I would say that they've abdicated their authority here in this Congress and in the Senate. I don't know if anybody else wanted anything to add, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, I think in a representative democracy, as Stacey has outlined, there's a responsibility to oversee the executive in our democratic system, to ask some questions. Our understanding is not only do they not ask them publicly, they don't even ask them privately.
Right.
And I think
Ridiculous.
that is an abdication of responsibility. Again, members of Congress don't serve under presidents. You serve with presidents.
I just want to point out that today his own attorney, Ty Cobb, said that this is intentional on his part, on their part. It's they're flooding the zone as it's been described. He said they're going to throw as much unconstitutional stuff out there as possible to see what sticks.
Right. Right.
I think you asked about the leaders.
Exactly.
They have done something. They've erected a giant yield right-of-way sign on this Congress, and whatever President Trump wants, they're here to carry out his orders. Whatever Elon Musk tells President Trump should be implemented here, we can count on them to do it. That's why we're filing our petition of inquiry and why we think it's so important to push back.
Just a couple of quick examples where this is not limited to the president of the other party. I disagreed with Bill Clinton over the line item veto. Said so. Tried to become a standing member of Congress to bring the lawsuit. And questioned George Bush Sr. on a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. I thought it was unconstitutional. And questioned President Obama on different issues along the way. That's your job. It doesn't mean you're disloyal to your president of your own party. It means you're loyal to the Constitution of the United States.
Exactly.
Any other questions? Yes. Yes, please.
Right. Well, it could go either way. They are pretty busy writing new tax cuts for the ultra rich. But whether it comes before,
no telling what they behind the scenes doing all kinds of things.
This, whether and I doubt this will happen, but whether the initial
nothing but a big distraction. They are doing so many different things,
the IRS,
and they just, like the man said, they are throwing so many things out, and they're hoping to see if something sticks.
But if there's not prompt action within the committee, we would expect to bring it to the floor.
The president told House Republicans today that he wants to close the carried interest loophole as part of the record. Hoping to get your response. I believe when I say
Well, you'll want to comment, but I think it's like everything else he says, and that's the problem in resolving the continuing resolution and so many other issues we have here. There's no trust there because he changes his position from day to day, hour to hour, and so until you see
I don't
it,
know,
don't believe
Mr.
it.
Swazi, did you want to respond to that?
No, but I wanted to say earlier that, we have different tools available to us. Legislation is one, but we're in the minority, so we have to try and get some Republicans to join us. Litigation is something that we see people doing already, getting injunctions. And mobilization, getting the public involved. The job that you do as, ladies and gentlemen of the press, is so important. Maybe that's one of the reasons that President Trump has tried to undermine the press over the past decade or so.
We're not going to even talk about the press. The press is a sad, they are so sad right about now.
And despite all these different
The
things,
press
because
is
nothing
not
happened overnight.
even
And
doing
who
what they should
knows
be doing. They're not
what
even
codes
speaking
have
on
been
anything.
changed? Who knows what things have been implanted in different
They are
programs?
making it seem
Who
like
knows what
everything
different
is so
keystrokes have been
normal
done that we're
when they know it's not
find out
normal.
about?
All of those
So we've
people are
really gotta do
insane.
a great job, and we need your help to educate the public as to how outrageous this is. That their private information, think of all the details that Leader Neal went through about people's Medicaid information, their prescription drug information, their tax information. Who knows what they're doing with this stuff?
You're right.
So
Who knows?
we
Who
need
knows?
you
That's
as much as
and
anybody
that's the
to help
million dollar
educate the public
question.
about it.
What are they doing with all this
We have
information
one
that
more
they are
question.
infiltrating
If
and
anyone
getting?
has one more
What are they
question, I'd love
doing?
to
That's the
take
million
it
dollar
forward.
question.
Just be aware that, as all of the members here have said, we're working on a reconciliation package right now. And while the members of the Republican Party here in the House are trying to find ways to pay for tax cuts to their friends and family and billionaires and who President Trump tells them to, the American people are having some of those resources clawed back from them to be able to pay for those tax cuts. Follow the money each and every time. That's what this is about.
Follow
This
the
is
money.
about greed at the end of the day.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
not about making
They are
America
stealing from the American
great. Any other
people.
thing? Would you like to
Period.
close out?
They are stealing from the American people.
Yes.
I do have a question actually specifically for Congressman Hackett.
That's the
Okay,
plan,
we
to
will have
steal
one
from the
last-
American
the last
people.
question,
That's the
and then,
bottom line.
Ranking Member Neal, if he wants to close
And what's
us
so
out.
sad, they doing it right in our faces, right in our faces.
Republicans think that the $11 billion that Governor Abbott requested could be a part of reconciliation. Do you expect that will happen, and how do you plan to?
Absolutely not. That $11 billion was a total waste of Texas taxpayer money as a political stunt by a governor who had no authority to be involved on our immigration laws. So I do not support that. There's plenty of money I'd like to see come to Texas to help the as many as 2 million uninsured people that are there. You can send us $11 million to do that, but not to support a political stunt.
Yeah, I think as we close, part of this is just stay tuned, because we're going to.
So this is my first live. I just wanted to have you guys listen to what they were speaking about, the Democrats just speaking about on everything that's going on. And it's just a shame. It's absolutely a shame. But this is my first live. I truly didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I needed to get in here and break the ice and do it. I only have 6 people in the room, so that's cool too. So, but I just wanted to kind of like just let you guys hear this live, whatever that they were speaking about, just talking about all this nonsense. And yeah, and like he said, just basically stay tuned to see what kicks off. So yeah. And thank you guys so much for being here. And I will check you guys out in the next video or the next live. You guys take care. Bye.